Hello and welcome to today's nail art tutorial. Today we're going to be doing chrome holly leaves with little gem berries. So I've got my press-on nail here and I'm going to be using some pretty good dollar store nail polish here. It's called Creamy Heaven and that's probably the worst polish name in the whole wide world, but I didn't name it, so don't blame me. Anyhow, it's a very sheer pearly polish and it's going to take me 3 coats to get this to an opacity I'm happy with. So I'm just going to do that. As you can see, it's pretty sheer, but it's a beautiful, beautiful pearly, vintagey sort of white. You can see the yellow undertones in the bottle, but it doesn't really come through on the nail. But it's really, really pretty. Pretty good dollar store brand, actually. If you have this brand near you, definitely go ahead and try it. I highly recommend them. I have a bunch of their polishes. They all have terrible names. Anyhow, so I've got my 3 coats on here and they're dry. And now I'm going to mat it. And we're going to cure that for 90 seconds. And this is where the fun begins. So I'm going to be doing this with a dotting tool instead of a paintbrush because I feel like I just have more control with a dotting tool for something like this. I have a couple of really tiny paintbrushes, but I like the dotting tool better. I'm going to be using that Madame Glam Perfect Black, which I already have on my palette over there. And I'm just going to be dipping the small end in, and I'm just going to be doing itty bitty little holly leaves. I'm going to do a cluster of 3 up top, and then I'm going to do 2 on the bottom. You could do as many as you like. You can do 1 cluster, you can do a couple clusters. Entirely up to you how small or how big you want to work. And yeah, just going to keep working on these holly leaves for now. Alright, now that I have the leaves as I want them, I'm just going to cure them for 60 seconds. And now we're going to go in with our chrome powder. I'm using a kind of spring greeny color and an eyeshadow applicator to rub the chrome powder all over the black of the leaves. Now because the polish still has the tacky layer on, the chrome powder will only stick to the polish, the gel polish, and not the matte layer underneath. I'm just using whatever residue is on the cap there because you really don't need a whole lot. You're just going to rub it in there and make sure that you get all around the edges of the leaves so that there's no black showing. It's really a simple and beautiful technique. It's so fast and easy. It just relies on chemistry. There's no real skill involved at all. So as soon as I've got that done, I'm just going to make double sure that all my edges are covered, and then I'm going to dust it off a little. Just want to make sure that I've got all the extra dust off of there. Make sure all my edges are clean. And now you could leave the leaves like this. You don't have to go in and add more detail. But I decided to add spines to each leaf. So I'm going back in with the black on top of the chrome, and I'm just adding little lines down the center of each leaf. And once we're done with the spines, we're going to go ahead and cure that for another 60 seconds. And then we're going to come back and do the same exact thing that we did with the rest of the leaves. Just going to put a little bit more powder on top of those. And you'll see it adds a really nice dimension to the leaves. But, you know, it's entirely not necessary. It's really up to you how you want your leaves to look. Now once we're happy with that, I think I'm pretty happy with that. It's got such a beautiful gleam to it. Now we're going to top coat it. And I decided that, like just before I put the brush on the nail, I decided I didn't really want to do a shiny top coat. And the reason for that partially was because I realized that the shiny top coat would probably freak out the camera even more, so I decided to just go for matte. I mean, it was hard enough getting the camera to focus on the nail without it looking all glary and shiny and just freaking the camera out in general, so I grabbed the matte top coat instead. Now you want to go lightly over the leaves. You don't want to really like push the brush in there because you might drag some of the chrome powder off. So you just kind of want to float the top coat over the leaves. And then once you've covered the nail, then it's time to get the rhinestones out. Now you're just gonna pop your little berries on. Now instead of using rhinestones, you could also you could do the same technique that you did with the leaves and make 3 little dots and cover those in red. I chose rhinestones just because I like the contrast. You know, it's 2 different textures and I don't know, I think it came out looking really nice. Also, for some reason, I just have a ton of red rhinestones, so I figured it was a good way to use them up. And if you're having trouble with your crystal picker, just kind of wet the end of it lightly. I usually just like lick my finger and then like rub it across the tip. It's gross, but it works. So once we're happy with that, we're going to go ahead and do a final cure for 90 seconds. And there you go. That's the finished nail. Very simple, just takes a little time, and I love this design so much I think I might do a full set of this next year. I really love the idea of doing like a vintage Christmas theme, because I haven't seen any vintage Christmas sets, and I think vintage Christmas is woefully underrated, so have a wonderful holiday, and I'll be back soon with more.